Welcome to another video by flashedphones.net. Now, you may look at the title of this video and think, don't you guys already have a video about not getting scammed? Well, we do, but that video is about a year old, and there's a new scam on the horizon, and we want to make sure that as many people as we can tell know about it. The scam that's been brought to our attention recently is flashing your phone to Verizon Prepaid. Now, flashing your phone to Verizon Prepaid services such as Verizon Prepaid, Straight Talk, or Net 10 are not a scam in and of themselves. We flash to the Verizon Prepaid network, and there's several other very reputable companies that also flash legitimately to those networks. However, as we get into this discussion a little bit, you're going to see where the scam comes in, and you'll be able to protect yourselves. In order to get up to speed on why this has become such a prevalent scam, we need to talk about flashing as it's existed over the last 12 months. Most people who flash their phones want to flash a phone to Boost Mobile or Metro PCS or Cricket or Verizon Prepaid service. But the vast majority of you want to flash to Boost Mobile. And the most popular phone to flash is one of the HTC phones or one of the Samsung Verizon phones. Now, that's been fine over the course of the last year. Many people have done that. But what started to happen in the industry of flashing phones to Boost Mobile is that the supply of donors has dwindled to the point where it's cost prohibitive for most people to buy donors to flash to Boost Mobile's network. Let me explain this a little bit to you. In order to flash a phone to Boost Mobile, you have to have a donor phone. You may have heard that term. This is a Boost Mobile Sanyo Incognito. This is the donor phone of choice by people who flash phones. Now, why is that the case? Well, it's one of the least expensive Boost Mobile phones that get true 3G data. So we activate this phone to Boost Mobile's network, and we take the 3G data settings out of this phone, and we use those 3G data settings to program your phone to the network. Now, this is how it works. When this phone is activated on the Boost Mobile and you power it up, it sends a signal out to Boost Mobile's data servers that say, "Hi, my name is such and such, and I would like to connect to your data servers." And the Boost Mobile data server sends a little message back to the phone and says, "Well, we would really like you to connect to our data servers, but before we allow you access, can you verify your password?" And so the phone sends the little password back to the data servers, and in Boost's case, they use 3 authentication passwords. So it will send those to the data server, and the data server, if those passwords authenticate, will allow this phone to connect to 3G data over the internet. So, obviously, we take those 3G passcodes and we put them into your HTC Evo or whatever other device that you have that you want flashed, and that's how we get data to work on your device on Boost Mobile. The problem is that Boost Mobile stopped selling these phones about 10 months ago. As a matter of fact, you can't buy these phones from any wholesalers anymore. Nobody has them. Very difficult to find. If you go on eBay, this phone sells now for anywhere from $40 to $55 a piece. So, if a flasher wants to flash your phone, that's the cost. $40 to $55 right up front. And then they have to be paid on top of that. So how much are they going to charge you to flash your phone? So that's where the problem comes in for most flashers. There are several legitimate companies like flashedphones.net, and we buy these phones in bulk quantities. So we'll buy these 1,000 at a time. And we get very good margins on these phones. I can't tell you what we pay, but we pay far less than you'll find them on eBay. That's why we can offer our flashing services for $65 for a mail-in flash to Boost Mobile, or $99 for a remote flash to Boost Mobile, and that includes the donors. However, for our competitors, the vast majority of our competitors, they can't compete with those prices. So what do? Well, they'll advertise that they flash to Boost Mobile for $65, and then when you read their fine print, or after you buy their service and you start to talk to them about how they're going to do the flash, you find out that $65 was just the cost of the flash, that you have to go find your own donor phone. Or, in even worse cases, they provide a donor phone, but they'll use a phone such as the Sanyo Mero or the Samsung Rant. Neither of those are 3G phones. The Mero is a 1G phone at best. The Rant does get 3G data from time to time, but it's not steady 3G, and that's why YouTube videos and things like that won't work when you have your phone flashed with those type of donors. Now, this has caused a problem in the industry of flashing, because there's about 5 of us, big reputable flashing companies, that buy these phones in bulk, and so we kind of drive the market up for the little flashers, the guys on Craigslist, the guys who flash out of the Boost Mobile store, maybe in your town. It's very difficult for them to find donors at reasonable prices. So what is starting to happen, and we're receiving a lot of phone calls every day about this, is that people who flash, they advertise Boost Mobile and they'll flash to Boost Mobile if you'll pay the exorbitant price or if you'll bring your own donor. But if you don't, what they'll tell you is, wait a minute, don't worry about flashing to Boost Mobile. You don't have to go find some other company. We can flash your phone to Verizon Prepaid. And they'll bill Verizon Prepaid as the best service on the market. And now, I'm not going to knock their service. Their service is good when it's flashed to properly. And that's where the problem comes in. Most of these guys who flash to Verizon Prepaid don't know how to flash to begin with, much less know the 7 authentication codes that Verizon Prepaid requires in order for your phone to authenticate to their networks. But here's where the scam comes in. What happens is that customers will have their phone flashed by whoever the guy was. Maybe you found him on Craigslist. Maybe you found him in a local store. Maybe you found him on eBay. And they remote into your computer in most cases, and they flash your phone, and everything works perfect. Super fast 3G data. Your picture messaging works flawlessly. All your apps work. You drive around town using the GPS. Perfect. So what happens is about a month later, and the trend seems to be within 3 days of making your first monthly payment. So you've had your phone flashed, you've paid that first month's service when it was flashed, and then when you make that second payment of $50, shortly thereafter, the account is terminated by the Verizon Prepaid carrier. Why is that? Well, this is what our research has found out. With Verizon Prepaid services, it's not necessarily the same as Boost Mobile. Remember, with Boost Mobile, this little donor phone, it would send out a request to the 3G data servers to log in, and then those data servers would ask for the authentication codes. With Verizon Prepaid services, it does the same thing. However, you can send any authentication code you want to those 3G data servers, and your phone will connect. However, after you make that second month's payment, that 3G data server actually goes through the process of verifying those login credentials. And when they fail, the system automatically terminates your account. And so we're being inundated with customers calling up saying, I've paid this guy however much money it was to flash my phone. I paid him for the Verizon Prepaid donor that he said he used, and I paid for the first month of service, and then on top of that, I just made my second month's payment, and now I have no service. What can I do? And unfortunately, the answer that we have to give is there's nothing you can do. Track down the guy that flashed your phone, and in most cases, that's impossible to do. Now, that's the scam. Not everybody is out there running that same scam, but you have to protect yourselves. So how can you do that? Well, the most important thing is you want to deal with a reputable company. Now, you may say, with today's digital marketplace, everything being online, how can we still find a reputable company? Well, I admit it is a little bit difficult, but there are some things that can disqualify a whole lot of the companies that are offering these services. Number one, you never want to use a company who uses a Google Voice number. If you call and it says, enter your name, will we try to find the Google Voice subscriber, just hang up. Absolute scam. Google Voice, people get Google Voice numbers so they can change them at random whenever they need to. Why would you want to deal with a company like that? So that will take at least half of the flashing companies right off your list from the very onset. Number two, don't deal with any company that takes payment, that does not take payment through PayPal. If they do not take PayPal, write them right off your list. So now we've already wrote off half of the flashing companies. Now with this PayPal requirement, you're going to write off another 2/3. So now you're down to a much smaller, much more manageable group. Out of that group of companies, what you want to look for is the companies that have been in business for a length of time. You want to deal with somebody who has been advertising under a company name for a period of time. Flashedphones.net, we've had that name, we've advertised with that name for almost 7 years now. Our 1-800 number is a registered 1-800 number. We've had that number for almost 7 years now. So those numbers, those names, they mean something to us. They mean a lot to us. It's our marketing brand. And those are the kind of companies that you want to deal with. You know why? Because if you have a problem a year down the road, if you have a problem 2 years down the road, you want to be able to get back in touch with the company that provided that service for you. So those are some tips. We had a customer yesterday, and this was the reason that I made the video. This woman had been taken advantage of. This was the scam that was perpetrated on her, and I had asked her, how did you make payment to this guy? Because as a last recourse, if you've paid with a debit or credit card, you can go to the bank and do a chargeback, and a lot of times you can win that dispute. And she said, I paid with a Green Dot Money Pack card. And I was absolutely flabbergasted that she would pay with a Green Dot Money Pack card. That's the same as sending somebody a Western Union. We all know if somebody asks for a Western Union, that's an absolute scam, right? Well, if a flasher asks you for a Green Dot Money Pack, it's an absolute scam. There's no question about it. Friends, pay only with PayPal. Only use reputable flashers. And if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, call us, email us. You can go to our website, www.flashedphones.net. And in the top right-hand corner, there's a little link, Contact Us. Click on that. It's going to give you a little form where you can write an email. You can put your email address in at the top. Click Send. It'll come right to my computer. Or, if you're an old-timer like me, I've got my ICQ number. That's instant contact with me or one of the techs, anytime, day or night. And we have our 1-800 number posted there. So you can always contact us. We have customers contact us all the time. Potential customers contact us all the time and say, hey, this guy's cheaper than you. Is he legitimate? And we'll take a look at his website. And if he's legitimate, we'll tell you he's legitimate. Now, we don't know all the flashers in the industry, but we certainly know the flashers in the industry that have been doing this a long time and who are reputable. And you know what? If we lose business to a reputable guy, that's fine. if we lose business to scam artists who take advantage of people and make a bad name for the industry, then that's not cool. That's why we make this video. Call us anytime with any questions. Thanks, and remember, if you've been scammed, write down below how you got scammed and put down there the name of the guy or the company that scammed you and what city and state you live in, so that other people who read this will see that, and possibly it will prevent them from being scammed the same way or by the same people that scammed you. Thank you, and remember, keep flashing.